Now there is a little bit of sketchiness with the internet connection. So if I come in and out, I apologize wholeheartedly, but that is the beauty of living in Puerto Rico right now. Sometimes the Wi-Fi isn't that great. So let's jump in, shall we? So the whole thing, before we start to talk about this $1.8 million mistake I made, just to let everybody know, we finally did the deep dive video on Farcana. Farcana is a gaming project that we were introduced to by Tencent, which is a launch pad. I think this one's going to be great. And there's multiple reasons for that. First of all, the game itself is already playable. I mean, look at this. This is a good looking game. And this is a AAA rated studio. And there's a lot of people behind it. Animoca Brands. You've got Polygon and Arbitrum and a whole host of people. And then you got a lot of different KOLs and people pushing this project. And oh yeah, one of the biggest things about it is that not only is it's free to play, first of all, which is essentially what Fortnite is, and that made $1 billion in 2018 in the first 5 months. It is free to play, but in the tournaments and the leagues, it's a win to earn. And what are you winning? You're winning Bitcoin. So with this one, I think it's going to do extremely well, but I could be wrong. There's a link in the description you can check out for this video. This is over on Dan Degen, which again is one of the more riskier plays you can possibly do. But just so everybody knows, I invested into it, so do your own research. All right, so today, here's the market. Kind of a red day. I think everybody was kind of poo-pooing because they're like, ooh, we didn't get our ETF. Whatever. So maybe we'll get it on Tuesday or Wednesday. Nobody knows. But it was looking pretty good. Again, my stance is I'll believe it when I see it. But I hope it does because then I get to wear a really cool shirt and I get to go on Simon Dixon's channel, which is going to be fantastic fun. Anyhow, here's the thing. So today, actually a couple of days ago, me and my wife were talking. We live in Puerto Rico. We vacation in Texas. And we've got real estate in both locations. And we decided recently to sell one of our condos. It's just time. You know, we've had it for 3.5 years, and we're like, it's pretty good. And we're going through the actual paperwork, taking a look at like what we spent on it and how long we've had it and the profits and loss, which we already knew, but we're just kind of doing a refresher. And we took a look. We're like, man, maybe this wasn't a good idea, even though it was profitable. But again, it's about how much is profitable. So let's just talk about real estate in general. This is Ben's website into the Cryptoverse. You'll see that there is a 10% off for the first month, link in the description, all that great stuff. But I use his site extensively. What I want to show you is this thing called Purchase Only House Price Index for the US. Now, I can't tell you what it is globally, but I got to tell you, the amount of homes in the United States are skyrocketing in price. I don't know if it's value, but price certainly has gone up. And what this is telling us is this is based on data from tens of millions of home sales from all 50 states and over 400 American cities that extend back to the mid-1970s. And the FHA serves as an accurate indicator of house price trends. Downward trends of the index generally mean the house prices are falling. Likewise for when the index is rising, or is it overheated, or is it collapsing? And we can just see that, you know, of course, in the Great Recession, which was all pretty much about housing and mortgages and the different shenanigans that were going on. You can see that, yes, it was starting to become undervalued because obviously the house market totally crashed. And it bottomed out around 2011 and came roaring back. Then we had the corona sickness and then boom, we had a little dip. And now here we are just going up and up and up and up and up, and it never stops. So the question then is, okay, so that's the index looking at it. What are we taking a look at as far as like home prices sold? Now, I don't know where you're at. The United States, across all the different 50 states and the Commonwealths and the different locations that I've been to, I can just tell you that the best time to buy a house was probably 1968 when you had it was 24,000. Now, if you weren't even alive around that, I don't blame you. It's just how it is. And that's what's called inflation. It's not because the house went up so much because it's so awesome. It's just the way it is. And there's a money printer and there's quantitative easing and you have the Fed to thank for that. But that's another video. But we can just see that the prices have just gone up dramatically all the way until, again, the Great Recession, when we had a nice little recoup. And now here we are. And did you know, I didn't know this until I took a look. The average price, the sales price, the median sales price of houses sold in October 2022 was almost $500,000. I don't think that's sustainable. And it wasn't. And it went down to only 418,000, and now we're on our way back up. So again, house prices, it depends on the time that you actually bought it. like right around here in March, when we had like a little bit of a pullback, March of 2020, April 2020, maybe July 2020, was a pretty good time to buy because everything just kind of went up astronomically in prices of real estate. But was that the best play? I want to tell you what me and my wife took a look at. We realized it really wasn't. And of course, you can see this is new houses for sale or sold ratio. We can see that's again for every one house, or for every 9 houses sold, there's 9 more waiting in the wings. This is the new house for sale sold ratio monthly. Okay, so that is that part. And what we did with these condos is we've done short-term rentals. Now, before you run into it and go, yeah, short-term rentals is great. It is great, but be aware of the cost. There is a link in the description for this website. It's free, app.airbtics. And the condo that we bought it outright at $260,000. And when you do this, you can put it into the location of where you want to do a short-term rental. And it'll tell you, like, on average, the revenue is going to be $31,000 a year. Not too bad. Occupancy rate, nightly rate, so on and so forth. But that's if you bought it outright. If you had $260,000, $250,000, you're making pretty reasonable money. Then roughly 6 years or so, it'd be 4, 8, 10 years roughly. I don't know. 30, 60, 90, 120. 7 years or so. 7, 8 years, you'd get your money back, which is not bad. I mean, considering like if you're doing like a startup for a business, okay. But if you want to say like, I'm going to take a loan, you just switch this on, whatever your down payment is. I just got to break it to you that usually if it's an investment property, you're looking at 15 to 20% down, depending on where you're at. And of course, that'll lead into your profits. So your net profits, if you did that, was only $8,000 roughly. And that's the headaches and so on and so forth. But there are good things to owning property. Trust me, I've owned a few. One of those is tax reasons. And one of those is stability as markets collapse and flow and ebb and flow. It's just the truth. But in this situation, not so much. Now, again, if you're going to Airbnb, I also linked this in the description too. Blog and travel guide. Apparently, this has been rolling out over the last over so many months. There's a new type of tag that Airbnb is using. So like the people that get tagged is like not just the super host, but a new type of like preferred host or something like that. If you don't have that badge, then you are going to be the 75% of people that are not going to get a lot of bookings. And that's going to be bad for you. So again, this is all Airbnb stuff, not crypto. We'll get that in a second. And I'm not saying that real estate's bad. As a matter of fact, it's good. The thing that I have the problem with is that it's just so damn expensive right now. It's just not a good idea, in my personal opinion, to start buying into real estate, even back then. But of course, we had an interview with the founder of Boxable, links in the description. I can see something like that moving forward, especially for the younger generation, because no one's buying a house for $400,000 when you're making $20 an hour, $15 an hour, $10 an hour, whatever else it is. And I think the federal minimum wage, I think, is between $7 and $9 an hour. So again, I don't see that being sustainable. Anyhow, all that aside, if I had to do it all again, because there's a big thing about lump sum and buying into Bitcoin and things like that, it's scary, right? But it's all about timing. So we know that the 4-year cycles are still intact. It's one of the few models that actually has sustained. In 2012, we had a halving. 13, we got an all-time high, dip, and a reset. 2016, halving. 2017, all-time high, dip, reset. 2020, a halving. 2021, all-time high, beautiful times. 2022 and 2023, dip and a reset. And we're due for a Bitcoin halving, April or May. I forget in the comments. You can tell me in the comments section. But we're due for a halving. And that year is usually pretty good, and the next year is even better. Now, does it mean that 2025 is guaranteed to be the most stellar thing of all time? No. Is 2024 the guarantee that everything's going to blow off? No, it's not. And that's the whole thing with investing. There's plenty of risk. So when I show you this next graph, I don't want you to go out and FOMO and go crazy. Having said that, sometimes I think people get ahead of themselves and they think that Bitcoin is the end all be all and that's all you should own. You shouldn't. I mean, people get crazy. Let's just be honest. This is from Udi. A lot of Bitcoin maximalists hate his guts. I think he's progressing and doing things with the ordinals, and that's just how it is. But he did a pretty good post. He says, look, A lot of people say, don't own a home or chairs or clothes because they're all scams. All I need is my precious Bitcoin. Like somebody who just, can only have that and live on that. It's not all about that. It's living your best life, whatever that is, and your investment. I can't say that for you. Having said all of this stuff, let's take some numbers. So we paid $260,000 cash, right? And it doesn't really matter. Like you could say like, you have $500. In the grand scheme of things, the time to lump sum is not usually in the all-time high years. That's not good years. If you lump sum 260,000 at the price of Bitcoin at $67,000, you'd still be underwater. And that's the truth. However, right now, maybe it's not such a bad idea. Obviously, before anybody says in the comment section, well, Rob, the best time to buy was probably when it was an all-time low. Thanks, Sherlock. I didn't know that. But yes, it would have been a great time at all-time lows. That's why a dollar cost average. But as time goes on, we kind of see where things are going, and this narrative is looking pretty good. So let's just say 260,000. This is what I showed my wife. I go, we bought that condo for 260K. We lump summed in Bitcoin. Not in 2017. That wouldn't be right. It was 2020. It was July. July. Again, this is after the halving. The halving in 2020 was either April or May. I always forget. I think it was May 10th to 12th, somewhere around there. So this is in July after the halving. So I wouldn't have even hit the bottoms. The bottoms would have been November 2018, I believe, after the 2017 low, which would have been like 3,000 or 5,000. So I'm not even hitting that. But I think it was, let's say it's a 24th. I don't remember. So check this out. I put 260 grand at this point. I would have been underwater here at negative 0.6% for whatever reason. Only 25th. But after that, I'm just doing pretty good. Maybe. Yeah. So I'm showing this to my wife, and she's like, looks pretty good. And she's like, well, why don't we just put everything into Bitcoin? I'm like, that's not a bad idea. However, just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it'll happen again. And look at this. So you come up here, you're at 1.7 million. The problem with this is that you think to yourself, wow, this just did a 5x. If it did a 5x, it'll probably do a 10x, right? Or a 20x, because everybody tells me, even Digital Asset News said it was going to go to 100,000, and he's never wrong. And you're down here. But you're still at 865,000, not too bad. And you're like, then it goes up. You're like, see, I told you, 1.8 million. But it did a 6x, so it'll probably do a 10x. And it didn't. And you'll hold it. And you'll hold it. And you're still up, though. And right now, you're still up. And you still have $1.2 million for the big lump sum. Now, obviously, I know it's not like people can say, oh, well, that's great for you doing these things. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if I could do it again, and I had $500, 1,000, whatever, I personally think this is not a bad time to lump sum. And of course, people say, well, you should have lump sum when it was 17,000 because I did, and I called it all the way. Great. Good for you. We're here in the present. I can't time travel, and I don't think neither can you. So as we look forward, and hopefully this ETF gets approved, whether it gets approved on Wednesday or Tuesday or in March or in 2025, it's got to be approved at some point. Again, I'm just a wait and see type of person, so we can go from there. But I think that the narrative has been set. Traditional finance is here. People are starting to really finally start to understand it and kind of wake up to it. So I think that's not a bad play. Now, having said all that stuff, let's take a look at what this will be with Ethereum. Little degen stuff. Okay, watch this. So 260,000, July 24th. Let's say I didn't want to do Bitcoin. I just did Ethereum. Well, if I held it all the way to the first top, I'd be at 3.8 million. If I did the second top, 4.4 million. And if I came over here, I'd still have $2 million at $260,000 I could have put in. But there's this thing called diminishing returns. All right, that's nice. That's cute. That's adorable. How about BNB? This gets even more ridiculous. And again, when I'm talking about this, remember that you can lose everything, because you can. It's very risky. But there's something to be said for crypto and just how it outperforms. If I would have held the first one, I had 8 million or 8.2 million. And today I would still have roughly $4 million. Earlier, get in. Hey, you know what else? I got a friend. His name's Diddy. You may know him as the Bitcoin family. Diddy was an early investor. You know what he did? He went in all in on 2017. I think he said it was February. Let's just take February 28th, 2017. He sold his house, his cars, and his business. I don't know if he did 100. Let's just put in 150,000, huh? Oops. Jeez Louise. That means that Diddy in the first run-up had 2 million. If he didn't sell anything, which I don't think he did, he's probably got 7 million. And then 7 million here, and then 5.6 million. I know Diddy didn't do just, I think he did a little Ethereum as well. Anyhow, you can play around with that. Go to Ben's website. That DCA simulation I'm showing you, it's 100% free. Hey, go at your heart's desire and do my favorite parts here. I like the DCA, also lump sum. There's a code called Dynamic DCA. Links also in the description about that video. But that's it for today. So look, if you liked today's video and hopefully didn't give you too much of FOMO, consider subscribing. Thumbs up, all that great stuff. Now, if you want to stick around, I'm going to answer all your questions the best of my abilities, and we'll go from there. But if you got to take off, take off. It's a beautiful sunny day. Thanks so much for stopping by. I do appreciate you. All right, everybody. What is going on? Let's see. Hey, to Sol. No, if I did Solana, that would look too ridiculous, because I think Solana came out in 2020, so it was like less than $1. That's just unfair to show that type of gain. It's just it make people go crazy. I can time travel in my bed when I sleep. Yeah. 3x max before bear markets again. Yeah, could be. Let's see. If anybody says anything else about Tectum, I'm going to ban them. Tectum. Brass, I just banned 3 people. I'll ban you 2. I think you're a bot. Let's see. Sorry, you can use a hot walk at your ledger. Let's see. Ben's doing a dominance video. I saw that. Yeah, be a good one. Okay, let me go up here. I know I missed a bunch of them. I don't know what that means. Rabbit says, I believe the ETF will be Wednesday, not because they can't do it Monday, but because it's like a bureaucratic entity to do everything last minute. Yeah, probably so. We'll see. You are my research. I wouldn't depend on me, that's for sure. I get a lot of things wrong. Hello? Ooh, Vero Beach cat. Very nice. Ben's chair is here. Tesla's here. Panda Pie. Usual suspects. Thanks for hitting the like. I appreciate you. Urgent Sky says, if Bitcoin bear low is 15K and the previous cycle low was 3.5K and a top of 69K, imagine the cycle top. Remember, though, Ben's got a great series about diminishing returns. So every cycle you see less and less on Bitcoin. Because remember, in 2013, it went from $10 to 1,000. And then in 2017, it went from 1,000 to 20,000, 20x, right? And then in 2021, well, the low was 3,000 to 67,000. So you have a point. But remember, that's massive amounts of market cap. The market cap of gold is roughly $11.5 trillion. We're looking right now for Bitcoin at roughly, it's over the total market cap is 1.7 trillion. I think Bitcoin, let's just find out. Yeah, Bitcoin's market cap is 861 billion. So, I mean, for it to double, but it still doesn't work like that because it doesn't double. Bitcoin's price doesn't double just because it doubles in market cap. There's an exponential factor because of the amount that actually gets taken out and the scarcity that it is because you can't create it anymore. So even like a couple of billion will raise it substantially. So I take that back. So maybe we'll see. Let's see. Lax says BlackRock owns everything and everybody. I'm assuming they want ETF way before much. I know they do. They definitely do. But let me tell you, wouldn't it be great if they said no? Let me ask you a question. How does everybody feel? Does everybody feel like that you accumulated plenty of crypto and don't need to buy anymore? You're like, yeah, that's good. Feel pretty content. Did it all, did everything. Or do you think to yourself, man, I can use another month or two? If it doesn't get approved, here's the thing though, if it doesn't get approved in January, in the 10th, might get approved in March. It doesn't get approved in March, it'll get approved at some point. And it's not like, here's another thing. It's not like we really need the ETF. We did pretty damn good the last 12, 13 years without it. Abdullah says, bro, lump sum now then? If you had 10K to invest now. Me? Yeah, I'd probably want to. You want to play it really safe? You could dollar cost average, or you could play in the middle, value cost average, where you take $2,500 and put it in today. Then wait for that announcement to see if they actually get, if it gets approved or not. And then if it does get approved, well, actually, you can do it this way. 5,000 right now, because everything's in red. Not financial advice. Do not do this is what I would probably do. 5,000 right now today. Wait to see if it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, just wait for it to drop and then put it in. But if it does come out and says it's approved, buy as fast as you can. And that's just Bitcoin. Any thoughts on Trader Joe? It's a great DEX for Avalanche. I've used it a couple of times. Works pretty well. Doesn't work as smooth as, say, Jupiter with Solana, but pretty comparable. Lax got a good question. Who has more influence on SEC's decision, Warren or BlackRock? The biggest question is who's got more influence, Warren, or actually BlackRock or Biden administration? That's the question. Cal with a K, are you going to get a Boxable? I don't really have a need for it right now. The only place I could see it, and I talked to the founder, was to put it on our sports facility. We have this place in Texas. It's a sand volleyball, sand soccer facility, and I think it would do really well in the middle as like a place for people to rest and relax after the games as they're drinking. So yeah. Thoughts on Immutable X? I own it. Have you heard about Luxo? Yeah, everybody tells me about how great it is. And sure, probably do well. Mark Yusko said tomorrow's the day. Another prediction. Let's see if that works out. Ivan says, my Tangent arrived. It's great. I use your discount code. Yeah, Tangent's great, man. Am I right here? This is my cold storage wallet. Look at that. Just scan it and that's it. Here's my LA Pal. I need to do another video on this one. And my Ledger. Let's see. Shark Puncher. Arbitrum on the move. Arbitrum, another one that I invested into, L2 solution for Ethereum. Talked to those people at length for our project. Pretty good team. Knows what they're doing. And it actually works. So it should do quite well. Arbitrum price prediction. It'll be between 2 cents and $700 this cycle. Nailed it. Yeah, Missouri. It's Colin Jury. Yeah, I remember Missouri. That's where I did my basic training. Fort Leonard Wood. Worst place ever. Sorry, just the truth. Well, the base was. People were great. Panda Pie, there again, some rumors and FUD around Kraken. Anyone impacted? Haven't heard too much. If there's a solvency, I haven't heard anything about it. Yeah, Mike's right. It's going to be a crazy week, one or the other. It is. If it gets approved, great, wasn't it? Great. And then, but I will warn everybody, I don't think that we see like it skyrockets like people think it might. Some people think it might. I think the more rational people are like, okay, that's good. Now let's give it like 6 months to a year for everybody to flow into, for all the people that are in the BlackRock, the Fidelities, the ARCs to teach all their investors about what it actually is and have them come in at a slow, reasonable pace. I think that's kind of where I'm at. And other people are like, okay, Bitcoin's on 100K, I'm out. But let's see which one's right. Yeah. Sean says, we also got handed free stimmy checks during that run up to 69K. Yeah, that's true. But then the problem with these stimmy checks and the free money was that it's free money. So people were like, oh, it's free money. I'll just put it into this Bitcoin. And then, like that was in March 2020 to June, July 2020, maybe later. Got enough funds to do that on a wide swath. Equities went up, crypto went up, and of course the sale of real estate also went up because everything went up. But if you give money to people for free, they don't know what to do with it because mentally they've never had that. And they're just like, oh, I just blow this on something because, whatever, it's just money and I don't need to save it. I really don't need to invest it too much. And off it goes. The smart people will do it. But then even when they do invest it, they're still not used to it. And they're like, holy crap, Bitcoin just went down 5%. I got to sell this stuff. This is going to zero. And it became so volatile. Bitcoin's not volatile. The people that hold Bitcoin are volatile. And that was the truth. So I think it's a cascade effect. I'm glad the tourists are gone. I'm dreading doing this channel when there's a bunch of tourists. I appreciate all you who are like even kilter and cool and fine. I just don't want to get a bunch of tourists again. I know it's inevitable. That's why I'm stepping down from this channel on the next bull run. Then I'll come back in the bear. Yep, me too. Waiting for the Chiefs game to kick off. Sweet. Big buys in V. All right. Jerry Solon one's correct. Gold ETF at an 8-year run. Have you ever seen this chart? Let me show you something. Yeah, this guy. Let me share my screen. Because they would talk about this chart, and they're right. Gold didn't really do too much. And it did really well when it first came, after, of course, the government stepped in and, took it from everybody. But then the 90s, it was pretty much flat. 2000s, flat. A little bit of a run-up, especially after the dot-com bust in 2001. But then here, November 4th, 2004 was the ETF. And one thing I want you to notice here, what happened to the launch of the gold ETF immediately after? I'm guarantee that the gold bugs were like, this is it, baby. We're going to the moon, or whatever they used back then. We're going up a hill or whatever. And what did it do? It dropped. Now, I don't know if these candles are monthly candles. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, roughly monthly candles. Look at that. 2 months straight, down. Then a little green, then down. Then flat for like half a year, like we just talked about. And then we start to see the rapid rise. All right, then dips, so on and so forth. So yes, it did go up, but it was still a little volatile, and that's gold. So just be aware that even though we get an ETF and everybody talks about, well, gold had an 8-year run, they did, and good for them. But it's not in a straight line, just like everything else out there. Good question. Scott says buying opportunity. Scott is correct. Where's it? Doja says no ETF is coming. We should hang out. I'm still on the fence about it, and everybody's telling me what a moron I am, which is par for the course, but that's fine. I'd rather be wrong and rich than right and poor. Warren is a hitman for the masters, perhaps. Are you still positive on ADA? Sure. Look, anything that you guys invest into will probably do pretty well in the crypto market. Everything. It doesn't really matter. The question is, which ones will run far and wide and which ones will just spike and drop? That's the big question. But yeah, I think everything's going to do quite well. Rob, what's your thoughts on influences bias on ICP coverage? I don't know if there is a bias. I just know they don't really cover it too much. I own it. It's probably do well, but it's, I want to say it's like 97% down from its all-time high. Maybe 95, I forget. But we'll see. People seem to love it. That's why I bought some. I don't really care about the tech, honestly. I know people will say that, but they're lying to you. I want things to work out. I do. But I think things are so young. And as far as like mass adoption, I'm like, the best shot we got is Bitcoin right now. And gaming, yes, that's true. I stand corrected. AI, okay, I can see something like that. Yeah, and then 0, 1 through 4. With AI and automation, they will push UBI, universal basic income. Let's hope not, but probably. Well, maybe, I can't say. Chris says the tourists are the ones we sell to near the top. There's a price of admission. And those, like you guys get it, right? The price of admission, even in traditional equities, is the same thing, right? Gary Gensler can go and talk about, oh, we need disclaimers and we need this documentation so people understand the risks. Newsflash, Gary. Nobody reads the disclaimers. Nobody really cares. It's one ear out the other. It's all gambling. So when we get the tourist in, they're going to learn a hard lesson. Did you learn a hard lesson? I know I did. There is no free rides. And if that's the case for the tourists to come in and they're like, hey, what happened? I thought it was going to go up forever. This influencer told me it was going to go to $1 million. He must have lied to me. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Duquan. Starting the channel during the bull run, categorize it as knitting or the crypto company. No. There's a lot of good people out there. Ben's great. Guy's great. CTO Larson. Cito. Lady of Crypto. James is great. CTO Larson. And a host of Tommy Crown. I mean, there's a lot of good people out there. And I not really needed, honestly. I'll probably still, like I said, I'll still shoot some videos on Loop, like things to avoid, watch out for these scams, why I sold. That'll probably be on Loop. The Dan Degen channel might stick around for like the most risky, degenerate plays you can possibly think of. And I've got a group that I'm involved with that I will stay active in, but I will leave when things get a little bit crazy. If you want to know when I think things are going to be crazy, watch that video in the description when I'm going to sell 80% of my crypto. Once that happens, I come on here. I say, hey, everybody, good news. I sold my crypto. And if Bitcoin hits 100K, I jump in one of these pools and I go. And that's it. And then I become like a tour guide in Puerto Rico or something. I don't know yet. That's the problem with retirement. You got to have something to do. 3 top cold wallets. I can only see the 3 that I use. Like Guy loves Trezor. I've never used it. I've seen it. I'm like, I don't know. Seems reasonable. But mine is Tangem, EliPal, and Ledger. Those are the ones I have right now with me. Rob's Generitech. It'll probably do well. I mean, look, every bull run I've gone through, 2017 and 2021, everything did great. Everything did great. It was after the bull run everything collapsed because you, like Warren Buffett says, you find out who's swimming naked. Because all the different shenanigans that were going on FTX and Voyager and Celsius and all this stuff, it came to pass in the bear market, didn't it? And everything collapsed. Luna collapsed. FTX, Voyager, all that stuff collapsed because they were all doing the dumbest stuff you could possibly think of. And they were Ponzi's and they were scams. That's what it is. 2017 was no different. There was nothing but a white paper and a hope and a dream. Those are called ICOs. And those all collapsed too. When that happened? After the bull run. So when the bull run comes in, like I had done my job. I calmed people down, told them just to stick it out, write it out, it'll be okay. I sold some, here's my profits. I made 2% or 1,000% or whatever I did. And then I'll see you in the bear market when everybody's crying. And that's it. And I leave and come back. Michael says, class of 2019. I've had some art lessons and still here. Those are the ones that win, the ones that keep showing up. It ain't easy, but it happens. Soul Dude says, any great deals in real estate out there in Puerto Rico? You mentioned a couple in the past. I got a couple of real estate agents. Ephraim, great guy. He was at the meetup. I'll introduce you to him when you get here. And then a couple other ones actually too. But there's deals to be had just around San Juan and Guaynabo, not so much. But if you get in the outer areas, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Timecone says it correctly. Biggest learning in crypto is a need to sell. We can all buy. The question is, can we sell at the right time? Esquire says, Dan Degen and Shorts channel, perfect for bear. Yeah. Yeah. Puerto Rico is very nice. Tracer and Ledger. Golf or poker? I barely can golf. I'll play poker, but it's a tamer version of investing in crypto. That's what poker is. The government, I believe, raised the minimum to $70 and $20 in Arizona. Oh, interesting. It's sunny where we are. That's the beauty of living in Puerto Rico. So, Showbag says, I started as a tourist and outstayed my visa. You'll probably be successful in the next one. And that's it. So everybody, so again, as a quick reminder, check out that video over on Dan Degen, links in the description for Farcana. It's just, they've got way too many people. They've got way too many investors. Like I said, Animoca Brands, Polygon Studios, Arbitrum, and a bunch of different VCs and institutions. And the people, the angel investors, are a bunch of influencers, mostly Web3, but have huge following. And I got to tell you, in my personal opinion, it doesn't matter how great a game, and this game is really good. It's how much can you get that message out in marketing, and they've got that down. And then of course, the game is playable. You can do it right now. It looks smooth and slick, and it's free to play. So you're not going to get the Axie Infinity effect, but in leagues and tournaments, you can win Bitcoin. It's perfect. Damn, it's really good. It's a really smart idea. So that's it. And just so you know, you got like 24 to 48 hours to figure this out because the IDO launches. So don't dilly-dally. That's it, everybody. So everybody, Sunday, thank you. I appreciate it. Like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, and let's see what happens next week. Be prepared. It's going to go crazy either way. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. See you on the next one. Adios.